I remember wanting to be a cowboy when I was 5 years old, but from then on, I wanted to be a doctor. I knew I wanted to do something that made people feel better.
Putting his Wild West aspirations behind him, Steve Rosenberg became a pioneer in a new frontier, a frontier focused on the science and treatment of cancer.
I wanted to help people who couldn't be helped by available medicine.
And so his journey began. Medical school and a residency training in surgery was just the beginning. As a resident, Steve met the patient that would inspire him and show him a new way of thinking about cancer.
I saw a patient in the clinic who had a gallbladder problem. Yet his chart showed that he had been seen 12 years ago in that same clinic with advanced stomach cancer that had spread throughout his liver. He had been released without treatment because there was nothing that could be done. But 12 years later, there he was. I operated on his gallbladder, and there were no signs of his previous cancer. His body had found a way to cure the disease.
How did the patient's own immune system fight the cancer off? And how could this spontaneous event be replicated for other patients? After training, and for nearly 50 years since, Steve has made it his mission to answer those questions. Steve began his first and only job as chief of the surgery branch at the National Cancer Institute. There he recognized that the lymphocyte, a type of white blood cell, was the key to tumor rejection. Beginning with factors that could grow lymphocytes, he administered interleukin-2 to 66 patients with advanced cancer without seeing any encouraging results. The day he arrived at NCI, his wife Alice gave him a sculpture of a person pushing a boulder up a hill, because to her, it represented the effort and dedication needed to pursue an idea without the knowledge that it could ever succeed. Even though the first 66 patients had failed to show encouraging results, Steve never gave up. Then, in 1984, Linda Taylor walked in, a young woman with metastatic melanoma. She was given interleukin-2, and within about 2 weeks, Linda's tumor began shrinking. Now, over 30 years later, Linda is still cancer-free. This was the first clue that he was on the right track. The next step was to grow lymphocytes from patient tumors and administer those. In trials at the surgery branch, these infiltrating lymphocytes were able to cure up to a quarter of patients with metastatic melanoma. Finally, there was proof of the idea that began decades ago, that tumors could be permanently rejected by lymphocytes. But many patients did not have the right lymphocytes. They needed something new. In 1990, Steve became the first person to administer genetically modified cells into a patient. To Steve, this achievement was the next obvious step in his pursuit of the ideal tumor rejection lymphocyte. Gene therapy has now become a major area of research for many diseases, with the potential to improve the health of innumerable patients. And some of the most rewarding results have been in immunotherapy to treat cancer. Genetically engineered CAR T cells have become an exciting mainstay in the treatment of lymphoma and leukemia. Based on this research from Dr. Rosenberg's lab, his former NCI fellow, Dr. Ari Beldegron, started Kite Pharma and turned Steve's groundbreaking research into the first FDA-approved gene therapy using CAR T cells to treat patients with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Now, this form of CAR T therapy, a life-saving therapy that was once only available to a handful of patients in Dr. Rosenberg's lab, is within reach for thousands of patients worldwide.
But the work is far from done. We now need to bring cell transfer immunotherapy to patients with any type of cancer. The most common cancers remain the biggest challenge.
In Dr. Rosenberg's corner of the NIH Clinical Center, there is a long hallway with framed portraits of the fellows he has trained, serving as a reminder of the other legacy Steve has created. The Society for Immunotherapy of Cancer is pleased to honor Steve by creating the Dr. Stephen A. Rosenberg Endowed Scholars Fund for Cancer Immunotherapy Research. This fund will continue Steve's legacy by supporting early career scientists and their quest to discover new frontiers in their pursuit of innovative treatments for cancer. We are inspired by the scientific achievements he has made over his 5-decade career because he opened the door to new frontiers. From all of us, thank you, Steve, for everything you've done.